Hello and welcome back to another video on how to level up. So I'm going to start with Standard Warrior. This deck got me pretty, this will certainly get you through up into Platinum. And how far it goes, we've got a deck tomorrow as well, which I've got to Diamond, which is actually probably even get to Legend, I think. But this deck is pretty cool. And one of the best cards out of the new expansion is this, Troublemaker. This can just completely change the game because of its end of turn attack effect. You basically get 6 attack and it just does so much to develop the game. Also, we've got like this, the Reaper's Scythe, which makes use of the new spell burst component. And this card as well is very useful, Blatant Decoy. In general with Warrior, right, at the moment in Standard, what you want to do is you want to just try everything you can just to get through to like turn 6 and 7, and then you can really start to put out your big minions. Now, one of the great things is this card, Rattlegore. This card is unbelievable. I actually dusted Mindrender Illucia just because I wanted this card instead. And that's because there's very little silence, in fact none, in like the meta at the moment. So this is just, you know, yeah, I mean, it's just like this will not go away. I mean, it will either. I mean, I guess with Rogue it could be returned to your hand, or I guess there's also that priest combo, isn't there, where they could set its attack to 1 and then take hold of it with the 4 mana 2/6, which became a 2/4, I think. But there are cases when you could lose this, but this is an amazing card in general. Another card that is very powerful in this deck is this, because you're very unlikely to lose anything. Because the way the warrior works, obviously, you use your little things like your sword and board, slam, coerce as well is obviously a good multi-class card as well. Works well in the rogue deck. Funnily enough, it's kind of funny that the rogue deck as well is what I play with. Maybe there's a reason for that, right? Thinking about it. And I've also got like this card as well. This is such a powerful card because, and it kind of reminds me of Battlegrounds in a way, but that Reborn comes with a Divine Shield. And when a Reborn comes with a Divine Shield, it kind of changes. It's like, obviously the main like negative with Reborn is everything that it comes with 1 health, right? So anything with Divine Shield with a Reborn is like, there's actually not that much. Can't even think of that much which has got Divine Shield and Reborn on it. There may be some other minions, but not many. I'm not sure if there actually are any. Like, it's a very unique card, Colossus of the Moon. And if you get 2 of them out of Dimensional Ripper, you know, there is obviously the problem that sometimes these amazing combos with like incredible power levels, just like it's just too late for them, right? So you do have to be careful with that. Like, there's also they also could say you maybe want a shield slam. The problem with shield slam in this deck, though, it doesn't really fit because you're never going to have, if you're playing an aggro deck, you're never going to be able to get enough armor. That's why it's not in there. This is like a very, very, like, sword and board and slam are very important cards. Like, you really need to manage the damage. It's almost like, and again, going back to this sort of comparison with Rogue, like, there's been times in the past with Rogue where you've always like, you've always just like accepted you're going to have to take that like damage early in the game, and then you're going to counterattack later. Um, and certainly that's true with Warrior as well. There have been Warrior like like risky skipper stuff where it should have been trying to control the early game more, and be a more rounded deck. But this is certainly more take damage early on, and then just this is a really important combo, the Reaper's Scythe. This is probably the most important card to keep in hand because like the weakness. Another card as well you might want is ramming speed, which also would help. Like, there's different ways to do it. Even improve morale. Like, there's like, obviously there's like these little, you know, um, it's kind of like Warriors like got interesting like low cost cards, right? Like Cleave is a good early one as well. Like, there's lots of like interesting stuff that could potentially help early game, but in general it's like Blade Storm's also a good card to have. Even Bollock of Azanoth I could put in there. I've got a lot of the anyway. I've got a lot of the warrior cards. This is a really good card as well. Playmaker. This could work really well. Not necessarily in this deck, but I remember when like Rush first came out, there were a lot of things with like Darius Crowley and stuff like that. But anyway, back to this deck. I also put Ysera in there. This is actually really good to get out of commencement. That's a really annoying thing to deal with. A 4/12 with Taunt and Divine Shield. But yeah, in general, to deal with, it's all about how can you deal with the early game board. This is pretty handy, Athletic Studies. Obviously, you're looking for a Blade Fist. We can look at the Rush minions as well because it's kind of like a thing. This can be good, Restless Mummy. Even the Brute. I mean, the Brute is often not as useful purely because if stuff's got low health, it's either going to be like alive or dead. It's not going to be like damaged. And of course, Animated Broomstick. This is like a card which is very, very useful for like a number of different decks, purely because it's just, you could just get, it just immediately gives that rush effect to everything. And it has rush itself as well, which can, pop off a Divine Shield or do the last bit of damage, which is pretty handy. And in general, though, yeah, there's not that many great rush minions. This can be useful, the Fishy Flyer. I'm just thinking like over the time of what I've actually taken from Athletic Studies have been useful. This can be useful. You haven't got as much removal. You've got like a bunch of higher cost cards. This is kind of more what you might want to take. Even a Taunt minion can, again, because of the lack of silence in the moment, Taunt minions can be pretty useful. I've even taken the Gyrocopter as well. Again, like this can potentially, as long as this can do 8 damage, right? As long as it somehow can survive the first turn. It's all about just trying to get like the most out of it. Like, and in general, when you go higher up, like you're trying to get the most out of your cards or get more cards. So it's like that's how you have to look at it. And Batterhead can be useful, but again, but the thing about the later ones is that like by all means take like a burly Shovelfist or something, like when you're if you're not playing against an aggro deck, but sometimes you really will need to do something a little bit lower cost just to be able to compete with the board. But yeah, there's not too much more about this deck. This is an amazing card, obviously. If you can get to the point where you get like a Dimensional Ripper out with like a Colossus, it gives you a huge advantage and you're probably going to win. I mean, Troublemakers out of Dimensional Ripper is also amazing. It gives you 12 immediate damage. That is probably going to decimate your opponent's board, if not like flat out win the game. And Coerce can be difficult because you can't combo that often. So you need to try and find a way. Sometimes like it's weird to savor a priest, but you do sometimes if you've got Coerce. It depends if like a big minion's like a Magtheridon's going to come down. Like, do you save like Sword and Board or something like that? In general, what I think what a lot of the games is that you just want to get the decoy down, because if you don't have Kargath and you've got something like another one of these minions, it's going to be really, really useful. You can even do decoy into another big minion, and it works really well because their minions, they could, the minions that are going to come out for them are going to be like not often they're not going to be, they're going to be things with good battle cries and low stat lines. So anyway, good deck to level up with, and yeah, obviously you want to hold on to early game, hold on to Corsair, immediately get your Reaper's Scythe, hold on to pretty much all the low cost stuff, and a Brawl as well if you can get that. Okay, thanks for watching.